Today I'm just going to touch on a brief presentation, only 8 slides, around mobility and really the way joining things together can produce some really innovative solutions for your customers. So let's look at really just the running order there. Those are the stages. I'll talk you through it, don't worry. So talk about Microsoft and what they're doing with Teams Phone Mobile. So they've come into the market with a thing which is FMC. Now, they've launched this into the market, and now customers are saying, well, what's this new way of making phone calls with my mobile phone, which has never been seen before, although it's about 20 years old. And now they're saying, everybody who's looking to buy communications services says, when I do my RFP, it needs to include this FMC thing because Microsoft are doing it, therefore it's now an established thing, so I need to make sure that whoever I buy my communication services from is going to do that as well. So they've created almost a market thing called FMC. Now, for the operators that are looking at Teams Phone Mobile, they're thinking there's a lot of work to make this work. I have to go into my IMS core and mess around with stuff and jeopardize my entire network potentially, probably not. But it's a lot of work. It takes a long time, and they're not quite sure what the business case is. So they're thinking also, do my customers actually know what FMC is and what's it about? I think the end customers really don't get it. It's quite complicated in terms of explaining it. Once they get it in their hand, actually, it becomes painfully simple. It's just making a phone call on your phone in the way it was always designed to do, which is, using a native dialer and not using an app or anything. So, FMC, if you think, I'll give just 1 minute for those people who may not know what it is, but when you get a phone, it's got no identity. It gets an identity when you put a SIM card into it. The SIM is the subscriber identity module. That's the SIM. So when you put the SIM in, normally the one supplied by your telco, the phone now has an identity of your phone number, which is great. So with FMC, what we're saying is we give you a SIM that's not got a phone number as identity. It's got the identity of your UCAS user, so your extension instead of your phone number. You pop that in there. Effectively, the phone is now an extension. So we've got phones with 2 SIMs, so you can have your personal and your work identity on there. So that's what FMC really is, and that's what Microsoft is selling, is the ability to have your Teams identity on your phone. And the other question, I think, is, the way Microsoft have launched this into the market, they've created a huge demand, but the lack of ability to fulfill it. So they've got very few operators that can actually deliver FMC. There's just a handful there on the slides. And there's a big market demand, so they've distorted the market really by favouring the people they brought on early and disfavouring the people they haven't, if you like. And there's also a question around, are the telco operators the best guys to sell this? Because effectively they're selling a subscription to a SIM. They're not really, do they understand how to sell UCAS solutions, etc.? So some questions around that. I'm not going to answer them. It's just some thoughts around what Microsoft are doing in the market. But importantly, they've created a thing called FMC. So what does this mean? What's in it for us? And how can we make use of this opportunity now, which is created? So FMC is proven technology. This is a good thing. We're going to go to a new market with proven technology. This, as I say, this technology has been around for about 20 years. And with Dstny, we've got really a lot of success around this. And a really important stat there, which is in small text, it's probably the most important statistic of the deck, in that where we sell FMC-enabled business phones, we get a 92% attach rate or penetration. So that means that a business user using FMC on their UCAS, 9 out of 10 users will be doing it on their phone and not necessarily on a desk phone or anything. So that's in a small, well, not a small market, but that's in the established market in the Nordics, where they've been doing this, as I say, for a long time. And Microsoft now launching this to the world in a way. So where providers have tried to launch FMC in the past and it's kind of not gained traction, I think with Microsoft really creating a market niche around this product, then I think we'll see some take-up. And the other thing which is really an important change in the technology, and the handset technology, is the ability to have multiple SIMs in a phone. Now, whereas previously it was a specialist phone if you had dual SIM, the latest Android and iOS have all got it. It's all standard, so you can have multiple identities actually in the native phone as well. So you don't need an app to have a separate identity on your phone. And of course, Microsoft creating the market, and then we're looking at the MVNOs and the UCAS and the PBX guys thinking about what's the opportunity here, and there is some really good opportunity. So that's a quick summary on where we think we are with UCAS. And in terms of the success, Dstny ourselves, we have around 2 million daily active users on FMC. So in markets where we've achieved the penetration and there's an understanding, the take-up's huge, the business case is definitely there. So we see this as being, as one of our sort of flagship products, or anywhere where we really lead. I think we're probably, with that many subscribers, maybe world leader. So who knows? So that's just an important stat. It is a successful product when customers actually get it in their hand and understand how to use it. So let's look at why we're here, and I'll do a kind of shameless plug. If gold sponsors always get the chance to flog their own stuff, so let's talk about that. But so Call to Teams, you probably know as a service. Many people in here are already partners of Call to Teams. And Dstny came together about a year ago, really. And the fusion of the two companies really has brought lots of opportunities around bridging technologies and been able to combine different services to make some interesting and novel customer offers, which is where you can find some really good use cases to add value, I think. So with this, certainly with some of the technology we've got between us around certainly the FMC patents and so on, which give us some secret sauce, and I may try and do a demo later of that working. It gives us some innovation around the platform we're building, which I'm going to touch on next. So what we have with our Carrier Automate platform is this is an end-to-end platform. So this is many-to-many. We're joining many carriers to many UCASs. And you may know with Call to Teams, we're already connecting sort of 80-90% of the world's UCAS platforms into Teams by user numbers. And it's a global platform. We run this across 6 Azure regions in 4 continents, a 24/7 carrier-grade operation. It's the cool path. If our platform, we're carrying all of our partners' reputation through that platform. It's really important that it gets delivered and it runs. And it's got to be simple to implement. I think that's possibly a misleading term. What we say is it's got to be easy to buy. So the end user must understand the value proposition and be able to buy this service really easily from either the partner, and the partner must find it easy to buy from us. So we've built in all the things you'd expect around API integration and so on, as well as helping our partners sell. So when you sell a service like this to a partner, it's great, but the key is how do they sell it to their customers. So we have invested a lot into helping our partners sell to their customers with some go-to-market support materials, which we often learn in-house as well, because Dstny does have a kind of country operation where we do sell to end users. So we do have some experience around that ourselves. So using this platform with all of its goodness, we can think about how we are connecting these services together. So one scenario here is to connect my UCAS platform, whether it's in the cloud or even on-prem or partner hosted, whichever one you choose. It just has to support SIP phones, which most of them do. We can connect that to Teams with something like Call to Teams. So by this, you've now created a new value proposition of saying to a customer, yeah, you want to use Teams for your call experience, but you want to use our much more capable call control platform and all of our call center and analytics and so on. That's fine. We'll bridge the two with Call to Teams. Or maybe we want to connect that UCAS to a mobile device and create an FMC. So this is a universal connection to an FMC cloud. It's the same connection to the UCAS, by the way, but this then allows us to effectively tether a SIM to the UCAS platform as an extension. So we've created a new offer there by joining those two things. And then we may say, well, actually, we're going to connect PSTN into Teams. So we're going to use something like Operator Connect. We're an accelerator partner platform. And so we can do that either direct routing or, as I say, through Operator Connect as well. So now we're connecting those things together. Or we might say to them, the UCAS wants to bring different carriers in, like WebEx are doing, and Microsoft are doing, of course, and Zoom and so on. So this allows you to connect the PSTN into various different UCAS platforms. So again, it's the same core engine doing this connection. So gives you new possibilities. And I think Matt touched on that, very, very early this morning when he said, there's people now connecting their services into UCaaS platforms as a sort of upstream provider. And then we got Microsoft Teams FMC. So this is Teams Phone Mobile for one. We've also working on a different method, which means that you don't need to do an IMS integration for Teams Phone mobile experience, basically using FMC standard technology. And we've got that working. We can demo it to you later if you want to see that in operation. And finally, then you think about, well, I'll converge some of these offers. So I'll take my UCaaS, I'll put it into Teams, and then I'll take that through FMC to the end user device. Or then you could say, well, what about taking the PSTN into Teams and then into the UCaaS and then to Teams and then to the end device? So you can get much more complex scenarios around joining things together. So where does this sell? So, you've this great new thing called FMC. What's the market opportunity? And the answer is it's niche opportunities. It's quite a specialist use case. But we've got this concept of a thing called a mega niche, because although the niche is quite narrow, it's extremely deep. It's massive in terms of its penetration. So if you're looking around things like compliance and confidentiality, every call you make from that SIM and that phone is anchored in the PBX. It goes back to the PBX before it goes anywhere else. So you're managing all of the content of that call without the user needing an app or anything. Frontline workers is a big opportunity, because I think you'll find the information worker now is pretty well looked after in terms of their UCaaS and their desktop and everything else. But the frontline worker, what do they do? How can you equip them with something which helps? And giving them a business voice service on their phone which relies on the native dialer. Now, what does that mean? It means that it works virtually everywhere. Anywhere you can get a 2G signal. If you're like John Deere as a tractor repair guy, you're out necessarily in the sticks. You need to be able to make a business call even when there's no data. So that's going to work there. Or if you're in a basement of a building, or you're in an operating theatre or anything like that, this gives you that reach. And the other key thing is battery life. Because you're not running Wi-Fi or data over the top continuously, you're just relying on that super efficient mobile core of your phone, which when you put it into super mega power saver mode, all you do is get phone calls, right? So it's going to work for that as well. So you can still do business calls in super mega power saving mode on your phone. Then we look at mobile first, where effectively we're not putting desk phones on tables anymore. We're just, there's no, you don't want that piece of plastic. You're just going to give the person either a second SIM, or bring your own device, or a dedicated work phone. So that allows you then to say, well, we're going to go mobile first. We're not having any fixed devices now. If you're going to bring your own phone, fine. You don't have to use your own SIM. We'll pop an electronic SIM onto your phone, and you then can make and receive work calls on your work identity without having to compromise your privacy. DECT replacement's an interesting one. Many people sell DECT solutions into campus-wide networks and so on. They're quite complicated. What if you could just say, we're not going to do that. We'll give everyone a cell phone or a SIM, and we'll put that through the central switch, just like DECT works. But this way, you then don't have to put any infrastructure in. If you open a new building, you don't have to implement DECT in the new building either. So you can think about, how do we replace DECT with FMC? And this isn't just for us. This is anybody's FMC has got these benefits as well. And then I think the project workforce is an interesting one. And this is about the disposable phone. So you set up a project, you give everyone a phone. It's maybe just a $10, non-smartphone, but it's got a SIM in it. You can make and receive work calls. If they don't come in the next day for some reason, you just turn off the SIM. You haven't lost much. It's not as if you're giving them a smartphone with an app and everything. So you've got the kind of concept of sort of disposable or dispensable telephony, which is maybe not environmentally friendly, but from a corporate governance perspective, it's pretty good in that you don't need to worry about managing all those devices so much. So that's I think the opportunity around those mega niches, which I really wanted to get across as being, FMC maybe you think it's a solution looking for a problem. I think some of these are the problems, and that's the solution to it. So it's important we kind of join the dots. So some key takeaways, and if I got time for a demo, I know I'm just coming up to time, but FMC is ready to go. This is old tech re-innovated. And by re-innovated, what we mean is you've already got established services which now have been around for a long time, you've built your business on them. How do you innovate again using those services? And that is by joining things together and making new services. So you take your existing UCaaS, you put FMC on it, you've got a new offer, for example. And making it quick and easy is key. I mean, the way we integrate with platforms is by not having to mess with the platforms. We do the hard work in our core so that your connection is really simple to plug in. And I can show you how that might work with something like if you want to connect to a UCaaS, say we've got a Ring Central account here, and I've got a FMC phone which is connected to the same user on this, so I'll just unlock the phone. And so this is Curtis Bauer, CB, you can see up on the left, he's green, and this is Curtis Bauer's phone. He's also got a SIM in here, which is the same identity, and I'm going to ring my colleague Cindy, and what we should see is that Curtis goes to red. It also says you're busy on another call because it recognizes this is an FMC connected device. So if I want to, I can then take the call on my desktop device here. So I've basically switched from the mobile now, which will go, it should go, hang up, into the desktop device. There we go, that's cleared. And so I'm on a call, started on FMC, switched to the desktop. I could take it back. And that's the sort of level of connection you can get on there. So that works. And with this connection to this Ring Central account, we haven't done anything specifically on the Ring Central side. This is all our tech doing the heavy lifting here. So there's been no work they needed to do to make this work at all. So that is a super quick demo for you anyway. So that's, yes, I think that's what I wanted to cover. Any questions or any comments?
Excellent.
Okay.
Round of applause, please.
Yeah.
Mark Ho at Dstny.
Thank you, Mark.